which is from another wonderful prophet, dear Jeremiah. And again, as often happens, it's taken from two parts of chapter 1 of Jeremiah. And to the best of my knowledge, the first 3 verses, because the first reading is from Jeremiah chapter 1, verses 4 to 5, and then 17 to 19. Well, I'm pretty sure that verses 1 to 3 are Jeremiah saying, you're asking me to do this? I think you're quite wrong. I mean, I don't speak well, whatever, all those kinds of objections. And then God's response is, the word of the Lord came to me, before I formed you, Jerry, in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I dedicated you, a prophet to the nations I appointed you. Again, it's just phenomenal, amazing. And I speak about myself in this regard, that the people throughout the Old Testament just did not seem to get it, that they were to be a light to the nations, that they were to be a people who called all people to live as God's beloved. And Isaiah shares similar thoughts, a prophet to the nations. Or the quote that Jesus shared, I mean, it doesn't say the captives of Israel, doesn't say the oppressed in the Holy Land. It just simply talks about all who are oppressed, all who are held captive. So, and again, while the Lord may be addressing these words about forming Jeremiah in the womb and dedicating him to be a prophet, those are words said to Jeremiah, but again, these readings are all quite alive today. And so those words apply to you and me as well as to Jeremiah. And so we could say that before God formed us in the womb, God knew us, of course. I mean, God is doing it. And before you were born, I dedicated you a prophet to the nations. I'm sorry, those are two different thoughts. Before you were born, I dedicated you. A prophet to the nations, I appointed you. And so if we could, and there's a priest who used to work a lot with RCIA people, and his statement was that if we ever got baptism right, the rest would fall into place. And so, and a key for me is, if we ever got the part about being anointed as a prophet straight, I think we would also then be much more clear about how we have been formed and dedicated and appointed as a prophet, one to speak about who God is and who we are as God's people. So God says, do you gird your loins, stand up and tell them all that I command you. That's kind of a strange English. But you gird your loins, stand up and tell them all that I command you. And Jeremiah probably is saying, me? What? And so what does God say? Be not crushed on their account. So, God is saying, yeah, you're going to face opposition. And any prophet worth his salt, her salt, will face opposition, just as Jesus did in the synagogue in Nazareth. People don't tend to not want to be challenged. People don't like being invited to be transformed. What an invitation, huh? Dear you, I would like you to consider the invitation to be transformed, RSVP. So, be not crushed on their account, as though I would leave you crushed before them. For it is I this day who have made you a fortified city, a pillar of iron, a wall of brass against the whole land, against Judah's kings and princes, against its priests and people. They will fight against you, but not prevail over you. For I am with you to deliver you, says the Lord. So, can God be any more clear?